Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Juvenile Dreams, a production of Rebuilding Drug-Free Foundations. My name is Gbenga Adekeye and you're listening to Royal FM 95.1. Juvenile Dreams is a program where we talk about drugs, drug misuse, drug abuse, drug addiction, and other vices that are interconnected with drugs. This program comes up every Saturday by 1:30 p.m. on Royal FM 95.1. So you can set your schedule to tune in every Saturday by this time to listen. Now, if you have any questions or you need counseling or you need help dealing with a drug situation, either for yourself, a family member, or a friend, you can always call or send a WhatsApp message to 0816 598 8565. I take the number again, 0816 598 8565. Now, people have been getting in touch, and I want to encourage you to avail yourself of this opportunity. I know a lot of people need help, and we are doing our best possible to attend to everyone as best as we could. I want to ask that when you get in touch, please be patient because we attend to so many people. So don't be offended if you don't get immediate response or a prompt response. At times, we have to respond to some critical cases that might pause responding to you. So please be patient and just know that you will be attended to. So if you need counseling or you want to talk to someone on any issue that is related to drug misuse, abuse, or even addiction, please feel free to call or send a WhatsApp message to 0816 598 8565. I take the number again, 0816 598 8565. Thank you. A few years ago, I visited a rehabilitation center for drug addicts. Now, it's a place where young women and men are being helped to be liberated from the shackles and pains of drug addiction so they could live and enjoy a more dignified and fruitful life. What I saw on that particular occasion was quite distressing. I saw young men and women in an excruciating state of emotional and psychological turmoil. Here were once vibrant and dynamic chaps, but now almost on the verge of becoming a wasted generation. Now, from what one observed on that fateful day, their road to recovery is not by any means straightforward. It requires bravery, dedication, as well as empathy of committed counselors. Ironically, the young men and women that I saw at the rehabilitation center still have to thank their stars for good fortune because quite a number did not make it that far before they died in the process. Now, across the globe, there are millions of their kind whose lives have been effectively dominated by the evil of drug abuse and are thus thoroughly hopeless about what the future actually holds for them. Drug abuse has become one of the major causes that constitute great danger to the present world order. It is the primary reason why many youths are incarcerated, as well as a source of crime and health problems. It has become such an unprecedented problem in Nigeria that the number of youths incarcerated in various prisons across the country has increased dramatically over the last few decades. As a matter of fact, the majority of these youths have been arrested for drug-related offenses and or have a drug abuse problem. Now, some of the factors contributing to this arrest are the public awareness of the danger in drug abuse and the war on drugs declared by the federal government using various agencies like the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, among others. Now, the UN Offices on Drug and Crime, that's the UN Office on Drug and Crime, UNODC, has over the years been actively involved in launching campaigns to mobilize support for drug control. The UNODC often teams up with other organizations and encourages people in society to actively take part in these campaigns. The drug abuse and drug trafficking indicators across the world is quite awful. For instance, data from UNODC reveals that almost 200 million people are using illicit drugs such as cocaine, cannabis, hallucinogens, opiates, sedative hypnotics globally. Likewise, drug trafficking has developed into a foremost hazard to the health and security of people and nations across the globe. Indeed, there is a strong link between drug abuse and a rising wave of terrorism across the world. Ironically, lots of money is involved in this criminal business. For every $1 billion of unadulterated cocaine that is trafficked through West Africa, more than 10 times as much is earned when it is sold in the European market. Now, the reality, thus, is that we are talking about a business that involves huge amounts of money and as such might be very difficult to eliminate except appropriate strategies and political will are exerted by relevant stakeholders. Now, drug trafficking and drug abuse are interrelated evils and must be tackled as such. Drug trafficking and abuse have led to the increase in criminal activities, violence, corruption, destruction of individuals, families, and communities, and the undermining of national economies. In Africa of late, concerns are rife over drug abuse, especially among the youths. Years ago, such worries were almost non-existent. However, a radical change seems to have taken place over the years when illegal trafficking and abuse of drugs silently crept into society. There has been a dramatic acceleration of this trend during the past 20 years. Apprehension over the abuse of hard drugs such as heroin and cocaine is even more recent, starting about 15 years ago in some African countries and increasing to absorb more countries in the last 5 years. Now, there is a consensus of opinion that this new trend was preceded and accompanied by a steady and unavoidable erosion of traditional social fabric and values. The African family, recognized in its extended form, occupied a primate and central position in this system. Sadly, however, this system is disintegrating. Social disintegration is also accelerating under the adverse influence of growing poverty, civil war, tribal conflicts, droughts, and other natural catastrophes, which leads to famine and massive displacement of population, creating a situation in which drug abuse worsens rapidly. As the world grapples with the menace of drug abuse and allied matters, it is important to stress, especially for the youth, who are deeply ensnared by this evil habit, that breaking the addiction is the only way to triumph over the problems of abuse. Parents, religious and community leaders, as well as educational institutions, can make a huge difference in stemming the tide of drug abuse and trafficking in our nation. Parents in particular need to spend more time with their children and properly tutor them on the danger that illegal use or sale of illicit drugs constitutes to their future. Now, stakeholders in the war against drug abuse must constantly draw global attention to the significance of addressing the menace. Governments at all levels have a task of counteracting both drug trafficking and drug abuse, but communities can also make a major contribution. As earlier stated, families, schools, civil societies, and religious organizations have a part to play in ridding society of the nuisance of drugs. The private sector could help in providing legitimate livelihoods for the youths who have come to depend on drug trafficking as a source of income. The media equally has a role to play in raising awareness about the threat of living a drug-dependent life. Realistically, the task of checkmating drug abuse and illicit trafficking in drug is quite enormous, but then huge success can be attained if stakeholders across the world reinforce their commitment to tackling this twin evil. The stark reality of the havoc that drug abuse could unleash on the world, if not properly checked, calls for urgent action among all world stakeholders. Hence, it is essential to lay emphasis on the need for a concerted global onslaught against the nuisance of drug abuse and illicit trafficking in the world. At this junction, I would like to take a break for some commercials before we continue. Don't go away, I'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still listening to Royal FM 95.1. My name is Gbenga Adekeye, and the program is Juvenile Dreams, a production of Rebuilding Drug-Free Foundations, a program where we talk about drugs, drug misuse, drug abuse, drug addiction, and other vices that are interconnected with drugs. This program comes up every Saturday by 1:30 p.m. on Royal FM 95.1. So you can set your schedule to tune in every Saturday by this time to listen. Now, if you need counseling or you want to talk to someone on any issue that is related to drug misuse, abuse, or even addiction, please feel free to call or send a WhatsApp message to 0816 598 8565. I take the number again, 0816 598 8565. This afternoon again, I have Isaac James in the studio with me. Isaac is a student of the Federal University of Technology, Mina, and is studying cybersecurity. Isaac, you're welcome. Today's discussion, we'll be talking about the legislation. There's a push for the legislation for the commercial growth of cannabis. I think I want the studio lines to be on. You may want to call in to make your contribution, to ask a question, to make a comment. You can always call in on 0810 850 1371. I take that number again. You want to call in to make your contribution, your comments, you want to say something in this program, you call on 0810 850 1371. Now, the legislation to legalize cannabis so that it can be grown in Nigeria for commercial purpose, so that we can earn foreign exchange from it, so that we can make profit from it. What is your take about that?
I believe that while it is important to look for economic avenues to make foreign exchange for the Nigerian nation, especially because of the economic situation we currently find ourselves in, it's also important to look at the viability of and the social and health impacts that certain policies and laws might have on the average individual. So I'm not entirely convinced that it is a step in the right direction, partly because even in other advanced countries as well that they have been attempted, we have not, the economic viability to start with has not yet been proven.
Okay.
Like in other countries, it's a lot easier for people to buy cheaper cannabis that are illegal from their illegal drug dealer than they would go for say more expensive, taxed, regulated government cannabis. So even from the economic perspective, I'm not entirely sure it's a step in the right direction to start with. And that's even not to pay attention to the social and health impact it might have.
Okay. Thank you. I said the number you can call on to make your contributions, to ask your questions, to make your comments. It's 0810 850 1371. I take the number again, 0810 850 1371. Now, if we look at the situation of things, presently, cannabis is not legalized, and we see the great havoc it is causing among youths. Right. What do you think will happen by the time it is legalized, and then, it's no longer illegal for you to have cannabis, to be in possession of cannabis?
I think that it would join other drugs in their problematic impacts they have on society, but with a higher degree of addiction and dependence. So the average pharmaceutical drug has about a 5% dependence rate. So if you use a drug that helps you sleep and is prescribed by a doctor, you have a 5% chance of getting addicted to that pharmaceutical drug. Now, for a drug like cannabis, or for the product like cannabis, it's a 17% dependence rate. So that's almost 3 times the dependence of regular pharmaceutical drugs.
Wow.
And that should be put in perspective when you're talking about legalizing such a powerful medication.
Wow. Okay. I'm calling the studio lines again for people who want to make comments, ask questions, or contribute to this discussion. The number you can call in to contribute to this discussion is 0810 850 1371. I take the number again, 0810 850 1371. Now, uh, presently, with the rates people, we say cannabis is presently illegal, and then the rate at which people, especially those who are involved in hard labor, take cannabis. Now that it's illegal for them to even use it, a lot of them use cannabis. So what do you think will happen by the time it is legalized?
I think there will be a sharp increase in the intake and social acceptance
Okay.
of the drug. And I believe even in the, would I say, first world nations, that the social, psychological, and health impact of cannabis has not yet been, would I say, ascertained to a large degree.
Okay.
So it would be very premature for us to take such drastic actions in legalizing medication that we barely understand.
So I think we are taking a step in. We'll be taking a step in the wrong direction. A huge step in the wrong direction by legalizing cannabis under the pretext that we want it to generate foreign exchange, and maybe generate employment,
Right.
and maybe what else?
For the
So,
medical use.
what medical use?
Well, cannabis is said to have a few medical applications, like it helps with pain and things like that, and it can be medically prescribed. But right now, within the Nigerian context, I really believe that the cons way outweigh the pros. I don't see it.
Well, I'll call the studio numbers again in case you have a comment, you have a contribution to this discussion. That's 0810 850 1371. I take the number again, 0810 850 1371. This war against drugs, it's a massive war, and we need a lot of people to be involved in making this war a successful war, for us to be able to win this war. Government needs to be involved. The family needs to be involved. Religious organizations need to be involved. Communities, local governments politicians need to be involved, because we don't know that the way everyone is looking at it, it's like we are sitting on a time bomb, which we don't know when it is going to explode. We are sitting on a time bomb, and everything is being taken with levity, and it's quite unfortunate. I just want to use this medium to call upon the government agencies, and other organizations, either individual organizations or government organization or international community. Let's come together. Let's do something to help the situation in the world. It's not a Nigerian problem alone. It's a world problem. We need to create awareness. We need to let people know the truth, because as long as people are ignorant of the dangers of the reality, the dangers in the reality of drug abuse and misuse, then people will continue to see it. Well, nothing is wrong with it. People will continue to misuse and abuse drugs. So I want to encourage people to please, let's work together. I think a call is coming in. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, sir, this is Godwin from Nigeria.
Oh, Mr. Godwin, it's been a while.
Yes, sir, God bless you, you're correct.
Thank you.
This I want to ask.
Yes, sir.
May I know whether other countries have been practicing it or not? If we are practicing it, why can we ask them that how are they doing it to prevent abuse of this drug? Because to be last year, I think that the governor of all those states
Yes, sir.
talked about this like to be legalized. And listen to me.
Yes, sir.
So, sir, let us ask other countries that do legalize this thing how they are doing it to teach us. If it is dangerous, they can stop it. If it's not dangerous, they can teach us. Hold on. It's not need of prayer, no need of deceive ourselves.
Yes, sir.
I don't know other economy. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I think, thank you, sir. Isaac, you will answer. I think you mentioned something in that direction before.
So even in countries like the United States, cannabis is still not legal in all 50 states. So there are certain states that have legalized cannabis, and there are others that still find it illegal, and you can still be jailed for being in possession or for peddling it. Now, it's partly what I said earlier, that even with first world countries, its health impacts, societal impacts, and economic impacts have still not been ascertained. We need at least, would I say, 5 to 10 year space where we study the impact it has had on those nations. Those nations are even they themselves just starting to put forward legislation. So while it is true that certain other countries have legalized it, we've still not been able to study for a long period of time the impact it had on their society and whether the pros outweigh the cons. So personally, I would still say it is way too premature to even begin to consider within the Nigerian context, because I would say, even how would you regulate, let's assume that we were to even consider making it a law that it's no longer illegal, how would you regulate? We have a massive drug regulation problem in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So even if it were to be legalized, we would still have a barrage rather of problems that would arise from that kind of legislation.
Wow.
So I mean, we still have security problems, problems with implementation of previous laws that have been passed in the past. So really, I don't see how within the Nigerian context we can implement it sustainably right now.
Well, it's quite unfortunate. Well, as I begin to wrap up the program, because my time is fast spent, if you have any questions or you need counseling or you need help dealing with a drug situation, either for you, a family member, or a friend, you can call or send a WhatsApp message to 0816-598-8565. I take the number again, 0816-598-8565. We are always available to talk to you and to help you out. You can also check our website to get more information. You can log on to www.rebuildingdrugfreefoundations.org. Now, we are working hard to make sure we put in content and information that can help you on the website. If you want to support what we do in Rebuilding Drug-Free Foundations, feel free to call or send a WhatsApp message to 0816-598-8565. I want to encourage the government, the state government, please, whatever you can do to help this program. We need a lot to make this program work. We need a lot to create the awareness which we are creating. I know people are listening to this program in various parts of the state, because at least we've had calls from as far as Barutin in Kwara State, and which is quite far. So people have been getting in touch with us. So as many people as can be of assistance that can help to sustain this program, to help us, to help reach out to more people, to help more people, would like you to please get in touch with us on 0816-598-8565. At this junction, I want to wrap up the program, Juvenile Dreams, a production of Rebuilding Drug-Free Foundations, a program where we talk about drugs, drug misuse, drug abuse, drug addiction, and other vices that are interconnected with drugs. I want to thank my guest, that's Isaac. Thank you for coming. I also want to appreciate everyone on duty in the studio with me right now. Thank you for making things work. Until next week, do have a wonderful weekend. Bye, and God bless you.